Hello everybody, welcome, happy Monday. My name is Erika Granadino and I am the interpreter here at humble Redwood State Park. And I'm happy to be back. I've missed you all. You may be thinking, Erika, why are you here on Mondays? I thought it was Angie today. And I'm here to tell you guys, we've moved some things around and I will now be doing my Facebook Lives on Monday. I believe Angie's is on Thursday, but I have posted that weekly schedule, that new revised schedule on this Facebook Live itself. So please make sure you check that out. And if you were here for the last video, I had some connectivity issues, so I'm restarting the video once more. And so we are back with the Leave No Trace series, and we are now on principle number 7. Can you guys believe it? We're already towards the end of the Leave No Trace series, but wait, there will be more. I will try to get an interview with one of our senior maintenance aides here at our park for my next Facebook Live. So I'm gonna try to do a culmination and we're gonna review all of the principles, 1 through 7, because I know some of us, maybe didn't keep tuned to all of these principles. So we're gonna have another video where we're gonna review all of them. But today we are gonna be talking about no other than principle number 7, which is being considerate of other visitors. So I'm gonna show you a little bit. I think you guys have seen this awesome tree. I'm actually at a really big tree here at Nature Gold Loop. And so why is this important? Well, as you guys have noticed, the title of this video is Kindness and Empathy in Parks Really Matters. And I think now more than ever, this is something that is super important to be considerate of because of the social and the political environment that we're living in during these times. And so I think now more than ever, we should really be considerate about that. So what does that mean? Well, first, I am going to just talk a little bit about some of our COVID considerations, because if you're being considerate to other visitors, this actually is really important because you're telling people that they matter, that you care about their health because you care about all of our health. And so one thing that we do ask you guys when you come to our park is to have these little awesome masks ready. We are outdoors, but there are a bunch of other visitors that do come and hang out and recreate at our park. And so if you do come in contact with people less than 6 feet apart, please have these ready so you can put it on. Another thing, sanitary considerations. We have to be considerate of other vulnerable populations, people that may be visiting that have low immunities. And so always have your hand sanitizer ready. And, when you touch things that other people are coming in contact with, it's always important that you sanitize before and after. And so by doing these things, just simply by following these rules, even if you're not, saying things that are kind or being polite, just by doing these things alone, you're showing a step and a level of kindness and consideration to people. So that's one thing that I really wanted to touch upon, because with COVID, we've had a lot of people come into our parks. In fact, we've had more people come to our parks than we've ever had before, especially during the summer season. A lot more people are starting to see the benefits of being outdoors. Nature deficit disorder, we're going to talk a little bit about that later, and just how important it is to just be outside, to connect with nature. A lot of us have been sheltering in place for a very long time. Some of us haven't really had contact with other people as much as we're used to. And so we're all coming out here to the park for very different reasons. Some of us are experiencing really tough times with the fires. Some of us have had homes that have been burned down. Some of us have had family members or ourselves have experienced the effects of COVID. And so with that being said, we do not know what people are going through when they come to our parks. And so we have to be considerate what other people we may go through. And this is where we get to empathy and kindness. These two words are really, really important, because if we're empathetic, we are trying to feel and to understand the emotional place that people are coming from. And I think this is important now with a lot of things that are happening. And so we have to show through our actions and behaviors that we care about our fellow human beings. And so I want to talk a little bit about some of the social and cultural considerations that we need to be having as we come to our park. We have a lot of people that have been coming because they're displaced by the fires. So if you in particular, have other places that you can go visit to, remember that there are some people that actually don't have a home. And so a lot of these campsites, we really need to have this space available for people that really need them. And so plan your trips ahead of time. Be considerate of where you're going. Try to stay local. And before I get to too much about how we can be considerate of others, about empathy and kindness, and I told you guys that we're going to talk about nature deficit disorder. And for those of you that don't know what this is, you're in luck because we have a very special guest. Erin Gates will be talking to you guys about why this matters. She is our Ports Program Coordinator here for our district, and she is an awesome woman, and she always gives me little insights that I just love. And so she actually reached out to me and was like, hey Erika, I want to be part of your program. So I'm super stoked that she came today and wants to share with you guys a little bit about nature deficit disorder and kindness and empathy in parks. So let's give a round of applause for Erin Gates, everybody. Thank you, Erin.
Thanks, Erika. Hey, Facebook. As Erika said, my name's Erin Gates, and I am the Northern California Ports Coordinator. It's really nice to be here with you. And actually, Erika was telling me this morning what her Facebook Live was about, and then we just started getting into a really good conversation, and I asked her if I could jump on. So nature deficit disorder and being kind and being empathetic to one another, everything we're talking about applies to so much more than parks, and this is really, really important right now. There are a lot of people out there that are suffering, that are having a hard time continuing to get hit by all of these circumstances that are hurting, right? COVID and fires. I mean, you guys might be able to see. I'm going to turn the camera around for a minute. I'm going to actually just tilt it up. But we're back to very, very smoky skies here at Humboldt Redwood State Park. And I know that for myself and for Erika, this affects us today, because we know that a fire is nearby. And that's when you have precious trees like this around you, it just makes you not feel good. One of the things that we talked a lot to interpreters and educators about this summer was being prepared for a visitor that we've never really had before, being prepared for a visitor that has trauma, a lot of trauma. And whether that's trauma because they maybe have lost a family member because of COVID, or they have trauma because now they've lost their house. We are all reacting to what's going on in the world in a different way. But one of the things that a lot of us have in common is this is where we come to heal. We come to nature to get well. And I personally, earlier this year, experienced my own version of nature deficit disorder. I was living in a city, and when COVID hit, I was completely disconnected from anything that makes me well. I was disconnected from being able to go to the beaches, to the mountains, to hiking on trails, and I suffered. I suffered extremely, and when I actually came up here, I didn't realize how much healing I had to do because of not being able to get my needs met in nature. And so now we have more visitors, as Erika was saying, than we have ever actually had. And all of these visitors are coming for all of these various reasons, and they're all recreating differently. They all enjoy spending time in nature in their own way. And rather than us taking their actions personally or thinking, oh, they're not doing it the way we do it, they're not doing it right, we actually have to remember that every one of us is out here for our own version of healing, and it is absolutely essential that we give each other space and that we don't assume that we know why they are here, that we don't make any assumptions about their version of recreating or our version of recreating, but that we create a safe space for all of us to share this magnificence. And I just think that's really important, because this has been a very hard year, but one thing that this year has done is this year has allowed us to collectively come together and recognize that we can heal together. And we need to remind ourselves that in order to heal together, we have to be kind to one another, and we have to be understanding of one another. And Erika had mentioned, she'll be talking about this in a minute, there's been a lot of challenges this summer with visitors kind of combating one another, maybe not physically, but maybe with verbal altercations. And I think that we tend to get in arguments or we have problems with one another when we forget that each one of us is human, and that each one of us needs to give each other the space and the kindness that we want, the give to others as you want to see given to you. So I'm really grateful that you let me come in, Erika, and talk about this, because California State Parks is a place for healing. It's a place for hiking, and it's a place for fishing, and it's a place for camping. It's a place for all of that, but it's also a place for you to come and heal. And we want to make sure that we are creating a safe space for that. And in part of our job of creating a safe space for you to heal is also asking that you create a safe space for the other visitors to heal next to you. And I just think that's a really important point that maybe we never quite realized how healing nature can be until we had a year like this. So thanks, Erika. Come back in. I'm going to give you space.
Yes. Thank you, Erin. I really appreciate it. Everyone, if you can type in on the chat, thanks, Erin. That'd be awesome. And so, yeah, I've firsthand have just heard and experienced and seen these kinds of altercations that have been happening here at the park. Just, sitting at the desk and hearing the radio that the rangers connect through. And, there's been a lot of altercations that have, had motivations that were racially motivated. And so our parks have a lot of needs that require a lot of maintenance. And so when we have rangers and our maintenance people that are being preoccupied with having to paint over graffiti and, people that are fighting against each other, it really redirects some of our efforts and the limited resources that we have here at our park for other things. And so I think this is why this video is coming at such a great time, because like Erin said, we as park interpreters and, as park employees, we try to foster this safe and inclusive environment, but we really need everyone else that comes and visits our park to also abide by these kind of social rules, right, that we put upon ourselves. Because we are always going to be dealing with things. And so the faster that we learn how to relate with other people and how to handle certain difficult situations and discussions, I feel like the faster that we can progress and move forward. And so please, when you come to our parks, we expect you guys to be in your best behavior. This is a safe and inclusive environment for everybody. And regardless of your race, sexual orientation, political views, this is a park for everybody. And, one of the last things that I kind of want to leave you guys with a little story. I was tabling a lot during the summer, and I got to meet so many people. And there was one particular connection that I had that really just kind of brought things home. And it was with a little girl. She was one of those junior rangers that, is really about it. Sometimes the parents kind of tell kids, hey, do this program, but you can tell this little girl, she loved nature. She had her little camera. She was taking pictures of all the awesome things that she saw. And she came up to me and was like, hey, I want to show you a picture. And I thought, oh my God, she's going to show me the cool trees that she's been seeing. Maybe she saw a river otter. I was just kind of envisioning the happy things that people typically come to the park for. Actually, what this little girl actually showed me was a bunch of pictures of littering, of graffiti, of racial slurs and political messages. And she was really upset, and she asked me, she said, Erika, what can we do about this? And she was like, what are you guys doing about this? And it really was an emotional moment because I just wanted to be like, you know, I do my little Facebook videos and I'm talking about these things. But where I like finally told her was like, you know, we try and we put things out there to try to educate people. But in the end, it's all about people and how they receive it and how willing they are to do these things. And so I told her that it all just starts with you. You're already setting a great example. This little girl was already on it to where, you know, some of us adults are barely coming to realize that sense of kindness and empathy and respect that comes from sharing open and natural spaces. Because in the end, most parks are on native territory, and we have to be super respectful and considerate, especially of other cultures and people that occupy this space, because we are all now on this space. And so I think that with this little story and the girl, like, it really just brought things home. And I just want to, you know, remind everyone to just be a little more kind and empathetic every day in your life, and just to think, how can I be kind today? And just display that to the people that I care about, and how this can be transmitted to people that I don't even know. All right, everybody, this was an awesome little chat and discussion, and we are so grateful that we had Erin Gates with us today. And if you want to say this awesome video all over again, otra vez en español, stay tuned. I will do this again in English. I mean, Spanish. Oh my God, see, when I go back and forth. So I'll do this again in Spanish, so stay tuned. I'll be on in another 5-10 minutes. Alrighty, everybody. Bye-bye.